Hi, it's Elise here at Bowman Library with a whole new teen book spotlight. So this month, or like technically September 15th to October 15th, so it's not like a month, but it's 4 weeks. It's Hispanic Heritage Month. And so for today, for our spotlight, we are looking at 6 books that have been written by some fantastic Hispanic Latino authors, okay? Some of them, what I love about them is we have some that this was their debut novel. So we have some that maybe you've heard of before, some that maybe are a favorite, but then others are new for you to explore. So let's get started. Our first one is Woven in Moonlight. So Ximena Rojas has spent most of her life pretending to be someone else. Mainly the Illustrian Condesa Catalina, who is the royalty of their people. She pretends to be her. She's basically like this body double in order to protect her because her throne has been taken over. Now, when she's then asked to marry King Atok, who is the same person who basically threw her off her throne, he wants to marry her in order to keep the peace, from a revolt from happening. Catalina agrees, but it's going to be Ximena who is sent instead. As soon as she arrives at the palace, though, Ximena finds herself thrown into this epic political intrigue. She has no idea who she can really trust, like what she's actually really there for. And on top of all this, she is sent with the goal of killing Atok because she's actually a trained assassin as well. So if you love a fantasy inspired by history, and this is inspired by bits and pieces of Bolivian history with some adventure, romance, this is a must read. This is Woven in Moonlight. We set the dark on fire. So on the island nation of Meteo, there is this wall that separates 2 groups of people. There are the ones that were born on the right side of the wall, and then the others who were born on the other, or the wrong side. So one of the few ways, though, to get to the quote-unquote right side is to marry someone from over there, but that's naturally easier said than done. Now, Dani has spent the last 5 years of her life training to be a wife. Now, marriages in Meteo, they believe that there are 2 wives. There's one that's more intellectual and there's one that's more passionate in order to bring a balance to the relationship. Now, when Dani is chosen alongside her rival Carmen to marry Meteo Garcia, who is the son of one of the most powerful families on the island, she cannot believe her luck. But when a deadly secret is discovered about her and she is then forced to spy on her new husband and his family, she will start to discover what is really going on with the people around her and who she really is in this fantasy adventure romance book. It's the first in a duology. The second one's out. This is We Set the Dark on Fire. Cemetery Boy. So Yadriel is different from everyone else in his family. He's 16 years old, he's a transgender gay teenager, and that's something his family doesn't want any part of. So that also means that he does not get to have the traditional ceremony in which he becomes a brujo. When he decides he's going to take matters into his own hands and perform the ceremony for himself, he soon finds himself having these powers and this ability to release spirits into the afterlife. When his older cousin dies unexpectedly, Yadriel sees this as his way to show his family what he can do and not to let who he is define his abilities. And he decides he's going to need to help his cousin's spirit get to the afterlife. But naturally, he accidentally summons another spirit instead, and then he has some unfinished business as well, because that spirit decides he's going to use his time to his advantage as well. Part fantasy, part romance, part figuring out who you really are. This story will have you turning the pages as fast as you can, and I will tell you, you may or may not tear up at the end. You've been warned. This is Cemetery Boys. They both die at the end. So this is set in a world where everyone receives notification they are going to die in 24 hours. So we meet Rufus and Meteo. They're 17 and 18 years old respectively, and they have just received their death notifications. Now, not having anyone to spend their last day on Earth with, they connect through this app called Last Friend, and they soon begin this friendship on their last day on earth. Not knowing much about each other at first, they soon start to learn more about the other than they ever could have pictured. And on top of that, they're starting to deal with the emotions in their life, as well as coming to terms with the fact they're going to be dead in 24 hours. And told through both of their points of view, you will love these two main characters, and you'll be wondering, what would you do if you were notified that you had 24 hours left to live? They both die at the end. Never look back. So every summer, Fayus visits his father in the Bronx, but this summer is a little bit different because this summer he meets Yuri. She is from Puerto Rico, and she's having just survived Hurricane Maria. She's living with her cousin as her and her mom lost everything on the island. So Yuri's holding on to this deep secret though. She's convinced, believes, however you want to phrase it, that there's this death spirit named Otto. And Otto is following her wherever she goes. And whenever she is shown any type of affection, that's when he strikes. So when she meets Fayus and sparks start to fly, then Yuri is really hoping Otto did not follow her to New York City. But her luck does not change, and it's going to be up to Fayus to save her from the grips of this evil spirit. So if you enjoy retellings of Greek myths, especially in a modern setting, this version of Orpheus and Eurydice will not disappoint. This is Never Look Back. And our last one for this week is We Are Not From Here. So teenagers named Pequena, Pulga, and Chico, they are living in Guatemala, and their lives are not easy, and it is not safe. So when Pulga and Chico witness the murder of their favorite convenience store owner, their lives have become even that much more dangerous, especially because they know who committed this murder, and they know that the guy who's in charge of the gang is the one who committed this murder. And they know that the gang is going to be coming after them now, either to shut them up or to suck them in. So knowing the only way that they're going to be able to survive is to run away as far away as they can, they decide they're going to make the dangerous journey from their hometown to the United States. Never knowing what is going to happen from one moment to the other, the escape is going to be just as dangerous as if they honestly chose to stay. Told from each of their points of view, they each have their own reasons for choosing to make this journey, and you'll be right there with them as they are going through every step of this adventure, that it's a run for their lives while facing danger around every turn as they attempt to make their way to safety. This is We Are Not From Here. So these are just 6 of the books that we have here at the library that are written by Hispanic and Latino authors. So we encourage you to come on out, check out one of these, or we have others. Some of these authors have written more than just this book. So we can help you find whatever perfect book you're looking for you to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month through an amazing story. I hope you tune back next week when we have a whole new teen book spotlight, and have a great week.